On va commencer on va finir plutôt la journée avec deux contenus, avec une keynote de Braze et après ça un talk dont je vous parlerai après dès que Braze aura terminé. Biarritz, le one-to-one, on a été en fait depuis 2019 une rampe de lancement pour un certain nombre d'acteurs. On a eu Twitch qui est venu annoncer son lancement en France avec une keynote sur laquelle ils étaient intervenus. L'année dernière, on a eu TikTok qui est revenu d'ailleurs présent. Et là, on a donc le plaisir d'accueillir Braze qui se lance aussi également en France et qui va surtout vous parler de comment la créativité va permettre de l'engagement client. Donc je vais appeler sur scène Magith. J'ai dit que je ne prononcerai pas son nom de famille. Je vais le laisser faire, qui va venir donc vous parler et partager avec vous un certain nombre de retours clients.
All right, thank you for that introduction, Sonia. Bonjour, that's all the French that I speak. This is the first time for me in Biarritz, and I managed to learn bonjour and bon appetit and oui, that's all. And next time I come here, I promise to speak more. And the topic, the slide should come up. The topic that I'm going to talk about today is achieving brilliant customer engagement through creativity, right? As I was preparing for this presentation, I kept thinking a lot about, what is that I wanted to talk to all of you today, right? And as I was thinking about creativity, I kept thinking about the time that we were all growing up, right? Remember the time when we were a child, we were not afraid to do anything, right? And for me, one of the schools that I went to as I was growing up in a very small town in the southern part of India. When I say very small town, it's with 1 million people. Well, it's India, right? So 1 million people is not considered to be a very small town. And as I was going to that one specific school, they had one motto, right? The punchline that school had is that every child is an artist, right? Every child is an artist. And because you give anything to a child, a piece of paper and a pen, they would write something, they would draw something, and they are not afraid to fail, right? And for them, they are satisfied with everything that they have done. For them, that is creative. But the challenge is, when we grow up, how to remain creative. That's where the topic comes up, right? So I don't remember when was the last thing that I did anything creative, right? So if I ask you to put your hands up, when was the last time you did something creative? 1, 2, right? Please don't put more hands up. That would ruin my whole presentation. So the problem is that as we grow up, we don't tend to become creative, right? And not just as individuals. Every company today faces that challenge. The question that they ask themselves are, what can we do as a brand to be creative, number one? And number two, what can we do as a brand to empower the teams around us to be more creative, right? But the beautiful thing is, with the help of technology today, how can brands unlock the creative potential through technology? And that's why we are here today from Braze. And for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about how can you achieve brilliant customer engagement through creativity. My name is Magith NOOHUKHAN. I'm the head evangelist at Braze, and I have the privilege to represent our company globally. 10 years ago, when you go to any conferences, one of the topics that they often talk about is that mobile first, right? You being a brand, if you go to a conference, they would ask you, are you on mobile, right? If you say no, in future, you need to be on mobile. That's the answer they would give you. But nobody at that time really talked about the importance of customer experiences. For them, mobile was a new device. Mobile was a new channel. Every brand wanted to be there, but nobody really talked about the customer experiences around it. And if you look at over the last several years, there has been an evolution of channels and devices. If you think of devices, there was PC, then there was smartphones, then there was tablets, then there was smartwatches, and also we have devices like Alexa and Google Home on the mix, right? 5 years ago, did you think that you would be sitting at your home and talk to Alexa? You did not. In Corona, during the lockdown period, I spoke more to Alexa than actually to my wife, right? So that's the kind of evolution that we have. We engage with technology more than actually we did several years ago. And Braze as a company was founded in 2011 when everybody were talking about the evolution of devices and evolution of channels. And as a brand, you are sitting on top of all of these devices like smartphones and smartwatches, tablets, PCs, and also on top of the channels, right? Email, SMS, web push, mobile push, in-app messages, and the list has been growing over the last several years. But as a brand, you are trying to navigate through these devices and channels just for one thing, which is to get the attention of your users so that you can convert them to become your customers and to keep on bringing them back to your product and services. But the sad thing is, many brands fail to create that relevant, personalized customer experiences. And with Braze, we are helping brands across the globe like yours to create that meaningful conversation with customers, and all the brands that you see on the right-hand side are the brands that we work with. And for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share everything that is educational, right? So when you walk out of this room, you want to rethink your customer engagement strategy. You want to rethink about what can you do to your customers to be more relevant and to be more personalized in the lifecycle marketing journey. And the tips and tricks that I'm going to share are from a partnership that we made together with Work about unlocking the creative potential of technology. If you are not familiar with Work, these are one of the guys behind Cannes Creativity Award. So they bring ideas and they make a decision of what is the best idea out there, and they provide that award every year at Cannes Festival. So we partner together with them to identify what can brands do to bring in creativity into the customer engagement space. But before I do that, the first point that I wanted to talk about is that talk about a couple of brilliant CMOs out there and how they create brilliant ideas, how they create effective ideas, and how they create campaigns that are very engaging than actually the normal ones. Probably many of you know Fernando Machado. He is the former CMO at Burger King. He is the guy who loves the art of marketing. You know, he is the guy who believes in blending arts and science to come up with creative ideas. But most importantly, he is the person who believes in bringing the technology partner and the creative agencies together to the one table and to brainstorm creative ideas and then executing it, right? The key here is bringing the technology partner and the creative agencies to come up with brilliant ideas. Burger King Whopper Detour happened 3 years ago. Still, it is a lot talked about, right? The idea here with this Whopper Detour campaign is very simple. Burger King, they want to give their customers a burger or a Whopper for 1 cent. Just for 1 cent, they want to give their customers a free Whopper. And to do that, all they have to do is, Burger King customers, they have to go near a McDonald's, like within a 600 feet distance, take up their mobile phone, open up the Burger King app. They receive a push notification with a voucher that says, now go to a Burger King and get you a free burger. It's a very simple idea, but they brought the technology and creativity together to execute that. And to do that, Burger King geofenced 14,000 McDonald's in the United States. So if you're a Burger King user, let's imagine there is a McDonald's outside right now of this building. If you're a Burger King user, all you have to do is go close to the McDonald's, open up the Burger King app, you will receive a notification, then go to the Burger King on the other side, get your free Whopper. Within 48 hours, they were #1 on the App Store. Within 48 hours, they were #1 in the Android Play Store, right? The creative idea brought them better results. 3.2 million app users, new app users, over 53% increase in app MAU, and also 143% jumping in allowing or providing or giving access of their location, right? So here bringing in technology partners, bringing in partners who can help them with the location of those users, and then executing that campaign. And this has been awarded one of the best campaigns in 2019 at the Cannes Creativity Festival, and it was awarded the most highest honor of marketing awards. So here, the idea is brutally simple, but at the same time, the execution was perfection. Here, the key ingredient is creativity. So now, the question that you need to ask yourself is that, when is the last time you did anything creative for your brand? If not, think about what can you do for your consumers. And the next one is CMO of Klarna, David Sandstrom, right? He is someone who uses the term push notifications in the same conversation as sponsoring Super Bowl. Like Super Bowl is one of the most celebrated gaming events that happens in the US, and to do any sponsorship or even to run a 10-second ad on TV would cost you millions. But he was talking about push notifications, a channel that your brand can have a complete control over, a channel that your brand can use to engage with your consumers at any point in time based on their engagement history. And David understands that's an important channel for his brand to engage with their consumers. He believes the personalization and the ability for each consumer to choose how they want to be contacted. I love push notifications. Do I prefer email? Yes, I do, but not as much as I do as push notifications. There are humans different from each other who prefers one channel versus the other. As a brand, do you understand how your consumers are engaging with your brand, and are you engaging at all based on their preferences? With that, now I'm going to talk about the 3 different trends that I think that you need to be on top of to create successful creative campaigns. The first one is, we will go a little in deep detail with these 3 different trends. The first one is, technology is no longer incidental. Number 2, overcoming the data challenges. And number 3, moving away from single channel to overall customer experience strategy. The first one, technology is no longer incidental. You all know Snickers bar, of course. You probably must have bought it. You probably must have ate it. They came up with a brilliant campaign recently called the Hungerithm. So technology no longer being incidental, what does that really mean, right? In the past, every brand that you engaged with, every product that you brought, you probably learned it from TV. I bought my first Nike shoes because I learned it from TV. Every product that I ate, every chocolates that I had, I learned it from TV. But today, that's not the case. You come across the brands on a day-to-day basis in the palm of your hands. That's why technology is no longer incidental, but it's rather a necessity today. And Snickers bar, they understood that phenomenon. They wanted to create a campaign that goes viral across all the social channels. So there was an algorithm developed by Massachusetts Institute of Technology. What they did a few months ago to measure how angry the internet is, right? So they analyzed the social media blog posts, about 100,000 of them on a daily basis, and they create a scale and showcase how angry the internet is. So let's imagine there is a protest going on, right? So many people would be coming and talking about, the world is not doing good, and now today everybody are talking about the increase in prices, macroeconomic downturn, so the internet is obviously angry. All right? So with this algorithm, they can measure how angry the internet is. And when the anger goes up, the price of the Snicker bar will come down. Right? So Snicker bar measured that, and automatically the prices would go down from 2.5 euros to 2 euros. If internet is more angry, it will go to 1.5 euros. If the internet is even further angry, it will go to 50 cents. So what people did in Australia, even though they were not angry, they just wanted to have some fun and get some free Snickers bar. So every morning they opened Twitter, and then they were tweeting all in caps, right? They were using swear words just for fun because they wanted to bring the price down. And the result of this campaign, the foot traffic, people went to 7-Eleven stores, increased more than 5 times, right? So it's a simple campaign, but the reach for those consumers went viral. So the question again is that what can we do as a brand to become creative? What are the different elements that we can use to become more creative? And John Paul beautifully puts it, using tech to amplify, enable, or catalyst any idea, that's where the true genius really lies, right? So it's not just about using technology, but it's also using technology to unlock the creative potential, right? Burger King does that, Snickers bar does that. So what can we do as a brand together to execute this campaign? And the next example that I have is from KFC. Anybody play games online? How many gamers do we have in the house? 1, just 1. That's 2. Okay, very good. It's 3, right? Including me. So one thing that gamers really like to do is to play games. And they do that continuously for hours and hours together, right? And they don't like to be disturbed. When they are playing games, all they want to do is they just want to play games. And they don't like it when their gaming experiences gets interrupted or disturbed by any advertisement. They don't want humans to disturb them. They don't want technology to disturb them. They don't want brands to send any messages when they are playing. But guess what? Gamers, they don't like to be disturbed, but they get hungry too. They want to eat, right? Like everybody does. If you are sitting in front of your computer for 7 hours, you get hungry. And KFC found that as an opportunity to target these specific gaming community. And all they have done is, gamer, when they are playing, when they get hungry, press Shift and then press KFC together. The moment they does that, they would get the food delivered at their doorsteps. So if you have ordered from KFC before, all you have to do is, while playing game, press Shift, K plus F plus C, your favorite food will be delivered at your restaurant. But if you're new, you will be delivered with a menu on the screen, which you can choose whatever you want, put in your address, and then the food gets delivered. From that point in time, every time you do that over and over again, your food will be on the table. And KFC found a way to create that experiences without interrupting the gaming experience. The campaign triggered over 45% sales uplift, and it also resulted in more than 100K new sessions from the users. This is creativity. This is finding an opportunity in between to engage with their consumers without disturbing, and to create that excellent customer experiences for their customers. With that,
by 2021, there will be 1.5 billion desktop gamers in the world. They customize their machines, chairs, and gaming sets, and use keyboard shortcuts to speed up their performance, because they never want to stop playing, ever. We know how valuable gaming time is, so we invented the newest, coolest, and fastest way to order KFC without interrupting your gaming, by using a popular gaming convention, the cheat code, and the KFC name itself.
وسوي معي هذه الحركة السرية اللي في البي سي. خليك ضغط شيفت KFC. واو!
Shift KFC.
Shift KFC.
Just type Shift KFC and done. Your order is placed. We launched it across 7 countries in the Middle East with 0 production cost. just by adding a single line of code to our platform. Registered users have their favorite meal, address, and credit card saved with us already. So every time they used Shift KFC, an order with their registered favorite meal was automatically placed, processed, and delivered. For non-registered users, the cheat code unlocked a new secret menu, which would be delivered to their actual location after a regular guest customer confirmation. Easy. Shift KFC, inspired by gaming culture, enjoyed by all chicken lovers.
The production cost for this campaign is like zero, right? They have to do is just add one line of code, and that's it, right? Without disturbing the gaming experience, without bombarding them with advertisement, KFC was able to execute this campaign. And that's the brilliant part about being creativity. And creativity always hides in some or the other places, and as a brand are using that as an opportunity to engage with your consumers. And now, moving to the trend number 2, customer experiences. So if you look at the top first points, which elements of digital transformation will be most important in 2022. Every year, Marketing Toolkit does the survey, and this is the results. The customer experience piece doesn't change, right? Many brands over and over again realizing the importance of customer experiences because audience today, your customers today have rejected the idea of mass communications, right? They do not want to get a message from their consumers which they think it's not relevant to them, right? I was sitting with one of the brands like yours, and we were having a conversation. They were into the business of gaming, and I asked them, how many emails do you send to your consumers? And the answer was, we send 5 emails to our consumers. And I asked them, do you know or do you understand if your consumers are engaging with that email? The answer is no. Do you know if your consumers open that email? The answer is no. Then I asked them, why do you then send 5 emails a day? They said, our competitors do, and that's why we send that too. And that's not how communication should be today. And if you do that, your audience are going to move to a company which provides better customer experiences. And the second one here is the brand plus performance marketing. The last 2 years, what we have seen with COVID is that many brands pumped their money into performance marketing, meaning focusing on very short-term growth. All they wanted to do is bring in users to their platform and make conversion for a short period of time, but without creating that long-term brand value. All they have done is, as a brand, they were targeting them on every platforms that is possible, bring them back, make a certain conversion, buy their product, and forget about them. They didn't think about collecting data. They didn't think about creating that long-term brand value, but cases like this would hurt the brand reputation during a long period of time. And as a brand, do you want to do that, focusing just on the performance side of things, or do you also want to focus on the long-term sales growth and also at the same time long-term brand value? And that's a question that you need to ask yourself if you are pumping money for performance marketing. And then the other important trend that everybody are talking about, which is an ongoing conversation for the last several years, specifically started in 2018 when European Union came up with GDPR, right, the data privacy law. And in our opinion, when we talk to brands, we often tell them, you shouldn't be afraid of data privacy because there will always be regulations coming from the government. There will always be regulations coming from big players who have the privilege to protect their consumers' data. Death of the cookies is one example, right? So that is going to come, and that's going to haunt the marketers in such a way that they can't target their consumers like they did before. So we are entering the era of zero-party data and first-party data, right? And what are you doing to collect those data to create meaningful conversation? So when you talk about zero-party data, the example that I have is when I engage with a retail chain, for example, right? I would like to buy a pair of shoes. The moment I sign up for the customer onboarding journey as a brand, it is your responsibility to ask me what I really like from the very beginning of the customer onboarding journey. You know that I am a male. I have this much of education. I have, the certain taste, yada, yada, yada. But as a brand, to truly understand what I really like, you should ask me, right? And as a consumer, I'm very happy to give it to you because I don't want to be recommended for a pink shoes. I don't want to be recommended by a running shoes because I'm not running anyway, right? So as a brand, you need to understand from me what I really like, what my hobbies are, and why I am buying a certain shoes. Am I buying a business shoe? Am I buying walking shoes? Whatever that may be, you need to understand directly from your consumers because zero-party data is the most trustworthy data that you can have from your consumers. And that's why it's really key to collect and also gather those experiences to create relevant experiences. Spotify is a great example, right? Everybody wanted to be Spotify. Everybody wanted to create that brilliant experiences. It's not just about collecting the first-party data and the zero-party data, but it's about using the data to create that relevant, personalized customer experiences. So what Spotify does is, based on the songs that you listen to, on a yearly basis, they would send you a message saying, hey, these are the number of songs that you have listened to the past year, and we have curated a song playlist based on your taste. And for me, that is very unique just for me, right? Because Spotify understands what I really like, and based on that, Spotify recommends me the songs that I want to listen to. And that's a great customer experiences, and that's not mass communications. That's targeted to one single individual. In this case, it's me. And they also combine the offline experience and also the online experience here, the billboard versus the in-app experience directly. Last year was crazy, 2021. Everybody were talking about NFTs. NFTs are going to make you rich. Everybody said that. Billionaire astronauts, people with money going to space. 2021 just kept getting worse, right? And Spotify found that as an opportunity to promote their story through different channels. And now the third trend, and I have about 4 more slides where I'm going to talk about the use cases that you can as an inspiration as you think about customer engagement strategy. Moving from channel to customer experiences. Many brands engage with their customers, but they engage in a siloed manner, right? So they send emails through one system, which doesn't talk to the other system, which sends a push notifications. Let's imagine your consumers are engaging with email, but as a brand, you don't know what they are doing with the other channel. It's siloed in such a way the systems doesn't talk to each other. I go to a retailer, I buy a pair of jeans, the jeans arrives, I get an email saying that, hey, your purchase order has went through successfully, we are delivering your product by tomorrow, right? And then they have another system which sends me a push notification saying that the product that I ordered is on the way. And these two systems doesn't talk to each other, and the product doesn't arrive yet, but 2 days later, I receive another email which says, how would you like to rate our product? Well, I haven't received the product yet, but I have received another notification saying that it's on the way. But the email system doesn't understand because it doesn't talk to each other. But as a brand, you would receive a bad feedback from me because it's just not right. So what can we do to create that connected experiences across multiple channels? When we work with successful brands, we see 2 things, right? From channel to customer experiences, creating a blend between out-of-product messages and in-product messages, right? You can use email as a channel, but you can also send messages through other channels, which is here could be in-app messages, in-browser messages, or even other possibilities that lives inside the app to engage with your consumers. When you use these two in-product and out-of-product messages in a combined, blended way, it creates more engagement because as your consumers, they have the opportunity to engage between all these channels. The reality here is consumers don't use just one channel, they use multiple channels. As a brand, are you using cross-channel customer experiences to connect with your consumers? And number two, if you're using siloed systems that doesn't talk to each other, what can you do to make things better? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about for the next couple of minutes. The first one is, engaging customers through any journey, right? When you think of streaming experiences, right? The moment I sign up for a streaming services, as a streaming service, you want to understand what I really like, right? As a consumer, do I like to watch drama? Do I like to watch crime? Or do I like to watch romance? I don't like to watch romance, but as a streaming service, do you understand? So you can capture those information from the very beginning of the customer onboarding journey and use that as a way to target me with relevant recommendation. But from the moment you send me romance TV series or movies, you are going to lose me because you did not understand my preferences right. And another example is that I love to eat a piece of steak. So if I'm engaging with quick service restaurants or restaurant chains, if they send me products that are not related to what I really like, you are going to target me 100% of the time wrong. So as a brand, you need to understand from the very beginning of the customer onboarding journey what your consumers really like, and based on that, send relevant product recommendations, but across all the multiple channels, connected customer experiences, and create that cohesiveness from the very beginning of the customer onboarding journey. If you don't do that, they would go to a brand which provides a better customer experience. One beautiful example that I have for you here from our customer, Sephora, how they have, in order to create a culture of experimentation, in order to create a culture of creativity and testing, they came up with this engaging campaign, right? So they have built this product. Many companies do inside the app, outside the app. They come up with new products, they come up with new features, but most often these fail because they don't educate their consumers to use them. Or as a consumer, they just don't know that there is a new product that they can use. What can you do as a brand to educate them on feature adoption? And that's exactly what Sephora had done. They created a step-by-step video, as you see here on the screen, highlighting the features value, right? So everyone can go and choose the lipstick that they like and how would it look like if they would buy it using augmented reality. And for Sephora, that's an opportunity to experiment with the creativity, and they were not afraid to fail. And as you see here, it has brought better results for their brand, over 28% increase in user adoption, 16% increase in usage per user, and also nearly 50% increase in the overall traffic for that feature. For a consumer, that's brand new. For a brand, they're experimenting with creativity and using different channels to educate their consumers. And oftentimes we see many brands put product features out there, but they fail to educate them. If you don't do, your product doesn't get adopted, which results in low sales. Here in this case, Sephora did a wonderful job. And the next one is from Pizza Hut about cross-channel case study, all right? How Pizza Hut added new channels and drives 21% increase in revenue with machine learning. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, when we talk about machine learning, we believe as a marketer, you should sit in front of your computer and strategize and be creative about what campaigns you want to send to your consumers, right? You shouldn't be spending too much time in executing it. You shouldn't be spending so much resources in building those campaigns, but strategizing it and executing in a much more easier way. So within a few months of working together with us, they launched a proprietary MAB, which stands for multi-armed machine learning test, where they had the privilege to create different variants of different emails, how that would look like, right? So for example, I would prefer to engage with a certain email, but there are others who probably likes more images in their email, which would make them to convert, for instance, right? Pizza Hut had the opportunity to create and test those emails with less effort and also using the tools at their disposal. And they were able to bring over 30% increase in transactions. So as a brand, are you regularly testing? Are you regularly experimenting? Do you have the right culture and mindset inside your company to test? Do you have the right tools and technology to test without putting much effort? And companies like Pizza Hut, they were able to execute that because they have the right set of everything in place to execute this campaign, and they have done a wonderful job using cross-channel case study. Freenet, you should definitely know this brand. They have two sides of business. One is on the B2B side, which is engaging with the drivers, and the other one is on the B2C side. On the B2B side, they want more drivers to accept the riding, and on the B2C side, they want more users to book the rides. But also at the same time, one of the problems that they had was many users were canceling the rides. So they want to find a way to not canceling those rides. So they came up with this brilliant idea about as and when you were booking a ride, and when you think about canceling, they send you a message with a certain offer. So here in this case, save 30% off this trip. Imagine you wanted to go from point A to point B, you take your app out, you booked your ride. For a moment you thought, I'm going to cancel it, and that's when they engage using that message real time, and then you are changing your mind because here you are saving money, and Freenet is adding value in that specific part of the journey that you are with. So coming up with the idea can be very easy at times, but also at the same time, everything that you have at place should help you to execute in a much more easier way. Here, in-app messages save 30%, just one click, and the users will take the ride. It's good for the brand, it's good for the drivers, and it's also good for the consumers. It's a three-way street where everybody makes a win-win for their journey with the brand. And the last one that I have is from HBO. I often talk about the best feedback that anyone can give you for your brand is your customers, right? Nobody else can. They understand what they really like, and they also understand what they really don't like. And if you want an honest, true feedback, it's your consumers. Only they can give it to you. And there are many brands, they regularly ask their consumers for feedback. And if you're not doing that at all, what can you do through these multiple channels, the want channels, whether it's email, SMS, web, or mobile push, using those channels to ask your consumers for feedback, right? So HBO Max, they wanted to engage subscribers with their tailored Wizarding World content, right? So like I talked about, only I can tell the streaming service, HBO Max, what I really like, so that the HBO Max can send me that relevant curated content for me, right? No others can tell me on behalf, right? You can track me over the internet, but I can truly tell HBO Max what I really like. So they used that as an opportunity, and they implemented a simple survey in-app message to deliver that curated content. All you have to do is open the app, and the in-app message will come, and then all you have to do is press 1, 2, 3 genre of services that you like, and from that point in time, they would do a great job in providing that relevant content experience for you. So imagine in this case, if I choose, or if HBO Max doesn't understand my preferences, I would go to another streaming service which provides that experiences for me. Right, so as a brand, are you doing any of this at all? Everyone in this room are the leaders of your company, right? So the question that you wanted to ask yourself is that every decision that you make today will have an impact on the business that you run, will have an impact on the consumers who are engaging with your brand. So what are you doing right, and what can we actually improve together? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. That brings me to the key takeaways. We talked about the blending of arts and science, being creative, what successful CMOs have in common. We also talked about the 3 trends that you need to be on top of. Like, technology is very essential to be a successful company. Technology is very essential to create campaigns that resonate with your target audience. And we also talked about importance of data. If you're not doing it, think about the evolution and the era of first-party data and zero-party data. Ask your consumers directly what they really like, and also ask your consumers for feedback, because they are the only person that they can give you what they really like and don't like. Engaging with your consumers through survey used to be difficult, but not anymore. There are different channels available. With the click of a button, you would be able to do that. And finally, collapse the funnel. Think about what can you do, be creative. Think about how can you empower the teams around you to be creative, to come up with these ideas. As I started in the beginning, every child is an artist, right? As we grow up, the challenge is how can we remain creative? And that's what we all need to work on together, and that's what you should be thinking about. How can you empower your teams to be creative, and how can you be creative as a brand altogether? And that brings me to the conclusion of this presentation. Again, thank you very much for being here today, and talk to every one of you soon.